girl's death. Our next guests, though, are very opinionated on this and other matters, including Risa Vetri Ferman. She is the newly elected district attorney for Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. And also joining us from Boston is Dr. Janet Rosenzweig. She's worked in the field of child abuse and neglect for over 25 years. She's the former executive director of the New Jersey chapter of Prevent Child Abuse America and a very old friend of this program. Ladies, thank you for being part of the discussion. And Risa, I want to turn to you because I know the people at home are saying endangerment to a child, injury to a child. Where's first-degree murder in a case like this?
Well, we don't know if there's first-degree murder yet, and as a prosecutor, you look at things step by step. You want to look at all of the different mechanisms of injury. You know, a lot of the child injury cases and the death cases we see are not first-degree murder, but this is so unusual, just looking at it from afar, because there's so many different things going on. You have the head injuries and the attempt to drown her and throwing her across the room. You might see one of those in a typical case, but to see all of them together is so unusual. And when you look at all of those things together, that could be first-degree murder. And what's really interesting to me is the things that they did afterwards, hiding the body, and the way that this child was put in a plastic container and hidden inside for a period of time. I mean, what kind of a mother can do that to her child? I mean, ice in her veins, that she's able to live with her child sitting in the next room or sitting outside in the garage and not say anything to anyone and maintain her composure and live her life. You have to wonder, how can someone do that?
And of course, we ask that question all the time when we hear this, and sadly, this is just one of thousands of cases, perhaps not this horrific, but certainly thousands of abuse cases in this country every year.
Well, you know, I've been here before, and child abuse is one of those issues that's really near and dear to me. I've been a child abuse prosecutor since I started in Montgomery County, and I don't think there's any kind of case that really enrages us more than an abuse of an innocent child. You know, there are babies who are injured, and you sometimes can understand how things like that happen because people don't know how to care for babies and might shake a baby or be too rough with a baby. But to cause this kind of injury to a 2-year-old, I mean, that takes a lot of force, and you have to wonder what's going through someone's head that they can commit those kind of acts and cause that kind of damage to a young child like this.
And you know, Risa, it's so frustrating because, as you heard Laura DePledge say earlier, who's representing the biological dad's family in all of this, they were really helpless once she decided to take the child and leave without warning and without notification. You know, I mean, for a dad to suddenly not have any idea where his child is in this legal system is very frustrating, and yet again, that happens every day too.
And when I just listened to the comment about her being alone without a support system, she was there by choice. I mean, she had in Ohio a support system. She lived with an extended family. The father was there and grandparents were there, and so she had help. So she took herself away from all that by choice, which really makes no sense, and then wanted to be away from that family. And there may be psychological reasons why she had isolated herself or did what she did, but the bottom line is it was still her responsibility as the adult to take care of her child.
Well, you also heard about I'm sorry, Janet, go ahead.
I just want to be clear that I totally agree, and I wasn't giving the fact that she was isolated as any kind of an excuse, rather the fact that as a teenager, she wasn't developmentally capable of making a decision that put a child first. Adolescents put themselves first, and that's just what they do, and that's absolutely not any kind of an excuse. Just yet another reason why kids being parents is just often a tragic consequence.
Absolutely. Well, this case has so many tragic consequences, and it brings in so many different questions. First, about children having children and what a biological grandmother could do in a case like this if the mother of the child decides to up and leave. The internet dating, getting involved with someone with whom you have really no relationship or any idea of what that background is. And then, of course, when this abuse started to happen, you know, what the mother could have done in this situation or whether she contributed to it. Lots and lots of things to talk about. If you want to join in, this is the interactive segment of the...
That way, and I pray for these people to be sentenced to, you know, for murder of this little girl.
Yeah, it flies in the face of what we think of as humans in society, that someone could injure a child that way. And we all want the ultimate penalty, because that is the only thing that ever seems just.
You said that, Becky, thank you for your call. You said that in impaneling a jury in child abuse cases, that it's very difficult for a prosecutor because the jury it has a visceral reaction. It wants someone to pay for what happened to this child.
Well, I think as people, you know, we're all sitting here and we're talking about this, and we have such emotional, palpable reactions to it. How could someone do this? And we try to find some explanation, and none of them ever make sense. I mean, you could say that she was a teenager and young and all that, but they're excuses, and it doesn't mean anything. And the child's gone, the child's dead, and we're angry over that. Just people react that way.
And certainly there are other teenagers who have had babies who don't end up harming them or murdering their babies.
It wasn't that many generations ago that people routinely had babies at 18, at 19, at 20. I mean, we're older now as a society generally, but it wasn't that long ago, and that was a routine part of life, and people became mature and they learned how to take care of kids. And maybe she was 19, but the man in her life was 20-something. You know, at what point did they take responsibility? Now, someone's going to have to decide how to move forward with the case, and someone's going to have to decide what charges are appropriate and what they should seek. And those are going to be tough decisions, because you have to balance the emotional, passionate one, the human one, which is you want to just throw the book at them. There's no penalty other than death that you ever want to see. And then and follow the laws in Texas, whatever they are, and decide what's the appropriate way for the prosecutor to proceed.
All right, Laura, or
like very, very young families with no resources.
And that's exactly what Risa has been involved in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, trying to establish something to help children and children who are having children.
I really agree with Janet on this point. One of the things that we really can do is raise awareness that if you have a child and you can't take care of your child, you have some tools. You can get help. It doesn't have to be a situation like this, because once it gets to this point where a child's been killed, you know what, you can give a million excuses, but the reality is these people are responsible, and they're adults, and they should be and will be held responsible as adults. You know, one of the things that we've been talking about in Montgomery County, we have a number of different programs to prevent child abuse. Our Office of Children and Youth gets very involved, some would say aggressively involved, and I think appropriately involved early when there are early signs that families are in crisis or having problems. And by getting involved early in a family before there is some kind of serious abuse, they're able to prevent abuse from happening. You know, I've looked over a 15-year period at the numbers of serious child abuse, and they've actually dropped, which I think is a remarkable thing, and it's a testament to the work that they've done. You don't have that in all counties across the country, but it's something that we've seen work here in Montgomery County.
Before we say goodnight, I do want to return to Laura DePledge, who is representing the Sawyers family, and please ask you, Laura, to extend our condolences to Robert and Cheryl and all of the Sawyers on the loss of their beloved little Riley Ann. I know that this is a very difficult time for them, and I appreciate you speaking on their behalf.
Well, they certainly appreciate me being here, and they wanted an opportunity to let people know, you know, the child abuse, it is preventable, it is recognizable, and the Memorial Fund is being established, and we're hoping to use it to help the family with travel expenses for litigation, create memorials in Ohio and Texas, and to raise awareness about child abuse and the services available to parents of all ages, so that something like this never ever, well, I don't think anything like this would happen again, but so that we can reduce child support or child abuse issues.
All right. Well, we are putting that information up on the screen now, as you can see, and we'll also have it on our website at CN8.tv. But Laura, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you very much.
Harvey Rice, thank you for the insight that you were able to give us on this case as well. And also Janet Rosenzweig and Risa Vetri Ferman. To both of you, I'm just so impressed with the work that you do to try to protect children and to be an advocate for them. So thank you, Risa. Janet, thank you for being with us as well.